Most people are trapped in a desperate chase to be liked, bending over backwards to please everyone around them, only to be walked over, disrespected, and left feeling invisible in the end. But in the next 25 minutes, this video will transform you into a commanding presence, someone who wields the dark psychological power of Niccolo Machiavelli to earn unshakable respect without ever needing anyone's approval. Backed by decades of research from social psychologists like Dr. Robert Cialdini, whose work on influence reveals how we're manipulated by our own need to be liked. If you've ever felt ignored, undervalued, or taken for granted despite your best efforts to be nice, this changes everything. Stay locked in with me. You're about to uncover hidden secrets that will shift how the world perceives you, making respect your default currency. Let's paint a vivid picture. You're at work, always the first to say yes to extra projects, smiling through exhaustion to keep your team happy. Yet your colleagues take credit for your ideas or dismiss your contributions without a second thought. Or maybe in your personal life, you're constantly compromising, biting your tongue during arguments, agreeing to plans you don't want, all to avoid rocking the boat and to be seen as the likable one. You're noble, always prioritizing harmony, empathy, and understanding. But others exploit this, treating you like a doormat instead of the powerful individual you are. It's not your fault. Society has drilled into us from childhood that being liked is the golden ticket to success. We're fed mantras like play nice, fit in, or don't make waves, conditioning us to seek approval at the cost of our own value. But here's the harsh truth. This relentless people-pleasing doesn't earn you respect. It erodes your confidence, leaving you feeling powerless, resentful, and stuck in an endless cycle of seeking validation that never fully arrives. You give and give, but instead of admiration, you get overlooked, manipulated, or even pitied. If you're nodding along right now, feeling that familiar sting of being undervalued, you're emotionally invested, because deep down, you know you deserve to be respected, not just liked. What if I told you there's a proven psychological path to flip this dynamic entirely, to stop chasing fleeting approval and start commanding enduring respect with every step you take? That's what we're diving into today. Let's get to the heart of this transformation. Everything we're about to explore is rooted in the Machiavellian principle of perceived power, drawn from Niccolo Machiavelli's timeless work, The Prince, and reinforced by modern social psychology, which demonstrates that respect flows to those who project strategic strength and control, not to those who bend over backwards to be universally liked. Studies published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology reveal a stark reality. 80% of people prioritize likability over assertiveness in social and professional settings, yet those who project authority through confidence and strategic boundaries are 60% more likely to influence others and command respect. This is a universal human behavior pattern. Our brains are evolutionarily wired to admire and follow those who appear self-assured and unyielding, not those who scramble for approval. Today, we're breaking this down into 3 clear, actionable levels to reshape how you're perceived. First, recognition, identifying the hidden psychological traps of chasing likability that undermine your power and leave you vulnerable. Second, protection, building practical, immediate strategies to shield your value and stop being taken for granted. And third, mastery, leveraging ethical Machiavellian tactics to command respect effortlessly in any situation, whether at work, in relationships, or socially. This isn't about becoming cold, ruthless, or manipulative. It's about harnessing practical psychology to shift from being a pushover to a respected force who owns every room they enter. Can you already imagine striding into any interaction, be it a boardroom, a family gathering, or a social event, knowing that people instinctively value your presence without you uttering a single word of self-promotion? That's the dark power of respect we're unlocking right now. Let's dive in and make it yours. We begin at level 1, recognition, where we pull back the curtain on the insidious psychological mechanisms that make chasing likability a losing game. empowering you to spot these traps before they diminish your respect. The core issue is what psychologists call the likability trap, a phenomenon backed by research showing that people-pleasing behaviors trigger short-term dopamine hits in the brain, reinforcing the habit, but simultaneously reduce perceived authority and competence in the eyes of others. Why do so many of us fall into this trap? It's because our brains are hardwired for social acceptance. Studies from the American Psychological Association demonstrate that the fear of social rejection activates the amygdala, our brain's emotional alarm system, pushing us to prioritize being liked over being respected to avoid the discomfort of conflict or exclusion. Let's ground this with a real-world case study. Meet Emma, a 30-year-old marketing coordinator in a competitive corporate environment. Emma was always the first to volunteer for extra tasks, stayed late to help struggling colleagues, and avoided disagreements at all costs, hoping to be seen as the ultimate team player. Yet, despite her efforts, her colleagues consistently overlooked her for promotions, and her ideas were often claimed by others in meetings. The pivotal aha moment for Emma came when she realized that her relentless likability made her predictable and dismissible, not powerful. Machiavelli himself warned in The Prince that those who seek universal approval sacrifice their ability to command respect, becoming tools rather than leaders. Another common pattern is over-agreeability, where you nod along to others' opinions, even when you strongly disagree, to avoid seeming confrontational. This signals low confidence, inviting others to overlook or dominate you. Most people miss this trap because society glorifies niceness as a supreme virtue, but in reality, it's a subtle invitation for disrespect. Here's a pattern interrupt to jolt your perspective. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like your efforts to be agreeable just led to being ignored or undervalued? That's the likability trap in action, quietly eroding your influence. Then there's the pattern of self-sacrifice, like consistently putting others' needs, say, staying late to help a co-worker or canceling personal plans for a friend, ahead of your own goals, which others exploit as a sign that you don't value your own time or worth. Research from social psychology journals indicates that 70% of chronic people-pleasers report significantly lower self-esteem over time as their self-worth becomes tied to external approval. Another subtle trap is over-apologizing, where you say sorry for things that aren't your fault, like apologizing for someone else's delay or mistake, further signaling weakness. The critical realization here: chasing likability hands your power to others, making you a target for dismissal or manipulation, because people respect strength, confidence, and boundaries, not endless submission. By learning to spot these patterns, over-agreeability, self-sacrifice, over-apologizing, and the broader need for approval, you gain clarity on the invisible game being played around you every day. Take a moment to pause and reflect. Isn't it almost shocking how chasing the fleeting reward of being liked costs you the enduring power of being respected? This recognition is your first step toward reclaiming your psychological authority and setting the stage for true transformation. Now, let's move seamlessly into level 2, protection, where we shift from awareness to active defense, arming you with specific, practical strategies to shield your value and stop being taken for granted in any interaction. The first tactic in your arsenal is the selective no, inspired by Machiavelli's advice in The Prince to be sparing with favors to maintain power. Instead of automatically saying yes to every request to seem agreeable, pause and evaluate whether it aligns with your goals or drains your resources. If it doesn't, respond calmly with, "I can't commit to that right now. My focus is elsewhere," without over-explaining or apologizing. Research from the Journal of Applied Psychology shows that setting assertive boundaries like this increases perceived competence and respect by up to 50% as it signals you value your time and priorities. Next, master neutral assertiveness to disagree without sparking conflict. Use phrases like, "I understand your perspective, but I see it differently," delivered in a steady, confident tone. This protects your stance while avoiding unnecessary escalation, keeping you in control. To spot likability traps in real time, train yourself to notice subtle cues, like excessive flattery. "You're so good at this, you have to help me." Or demands disguised as favors. "It's no big deal, you'll do it, right?" Which indicates someone testing your willingness to bend. Counter these with strategic pauses. Before agreeing to anything, take a deliberate breath and ask, "What's the priority or timeline for this?" This simple question shifts the dynamic, forcing them to justify their request while giving you space to decide. For self-sacrifice tendencies, adopt value anchoring. Start each day by affirming to yourself, "My time, energy, and goals are as valuable as anyone else's," either mentally or in writing, to reinforce your self-worth. The promise here is immediate and tangible. The moment you start applying these protective strategies, you'll feel a profound shift. No more resentment from overgiving. No more walking away from interactions feeling diminished or used. But here's a deliberate pattern interrupt to keep you engaged. What if someone keeps pushing your boundaries despite your assertiveness? That's where proactive behavioral changes come into play. Limit your exposure by politely declining non-essential invitations, delegating low-priority tasks, or setting clear time boundaries, like, "I'm free to discuss this for 15 minutes tomorrow." To build long-term protection, incorporate a respect journal into your routine. After interactions where you feel tested, jot down what happened, how you responded, did you hold firm or cave, and what worked or could be improved. This practice, grounded in cognitive behavioral therapy principles, rewires your brain to prioritize your value over external approval, making these defenses second nature over time. Another tactic is deflection scripting, for over-apologizing. Instead of saying sorry for others' mistakes, try, "That's unfortunate, how can we address it?" This keeps you neutral and solution-focused. You're not just avoiding disrespect anymore, you're constructing an impenetrable shield of self-worth that others can't breach. Let me pose this rhetorical question to D. Rivet home. Are you ready to step into a reality where you never feel like a doormat again, where your value is non-negotiable no matter who you're dealing with? Now we ascend to the pinnacle, Level 3 Mastery, where you transcend basic defense and wield ethical Machiavellian principles to command respect effortlessly, becoming a psychological force in any setting. The first advanced tactic is strategic presence, inspired by Machiavelli's advice to appear both loved and feared in the prince. Ethically, this means blending approachability with unyielding confidence, projecting power without arrogance. Practice this by entering every interaction with intentional, controlled body language, shoulders back, steady eye contact, minimal fidgeting, and a calm yet firm voice. Research from nonverbal communication studies shows that these cues account for 55% of perceived authority, instantly signaling you're not someone to be dismissed. What truly sets the psychologically masterful, the elite few, apart from the masses who chase approval? It's their ability to maintain frame control, a social psychology concept where you define and hold the emotional and narrative tone of any interaction, refusing to let others dictate how you're perceived. You can pre-frame interactions by affirming internally before entering a room, "I set the tone. My value is undeniable," priming your subconscious for dominance according to cognitive psychology principles. Most people react impulsively, seeking validation. You project unshakable value, forcing others to adjust to your frame. Here's a practical example. If a colleague interrupts you during a meeting to overshadow your point, don't shrink or argue. Respond masterfully with, "I'll finish my point first, then I'd love to hear your perspective," maintaining control with calm authority. For historical anchoring, consider Machiavelli's counsel to princes to balance generosity with firmness. Apply this ethically by offering help or support only when it aligns with your goals, not as a reflex to be liked. Another advanced tactic is amplified redirection. If someone undermines you with a dismissive comment like, "You're too quiet lately, not contributing much," don't defend. Respond with, "I've been focused on high-impact priorities. What's driving your observation?" This subtly exposes their intent while keeping you composed and in charge. Another layer is selective vulnerability. Share calculated insights about yourself, like admitting a past challenge you overcame, to build trust, but never at the expense of your authority. Machiavelli noted that appearing relatable strengthens alliances, but only when paired with strength. While most crumble under pressure to be liked, you anticipate and redirect, turning attempts to diminish you into opportunities to shine. Here's a pattern interrupt to reinforce your progress. Can you imagine the profound liberation of never needing external validation to feel powerful, where respect flows to you naturally because of the presence you project? You're now operating in the elite echelons, commanding respect without begging for approval, radiating quiet power that others can't ignore. To deepen this, practice outcome detachment. Focus on your internal standards, not others' reactions, affirming, "Their opinion doesn't define me." This mindset, rooted in Stoic philosophy and modern psychology, makes you untouchable. To bridge this knowledge into tangible real-world change, let's ground it in 3 detailed, relatable scenarios, contrasting the old you versus the new you to illustrate your transformation and make it immediately actionable in your daily life. First scenario, the workplace. A coworker takes credit for your idea during a team meeting, saying, "We came up with this together." The old you stays silent to avoid conflict, feeling resentful and invisible. The new you recognizes this as the likability trap, protects by calmly stating, "I'm glad you liked my concept. I developed the core framework, so let's clarify contributions." And masters by proactively presenting your work directly to your boss or team via email or in future meetings, documenting your role with confidence. The outcome? You're seen as a confident leader, securing respect and opening doors to promotions or recognition. Second scenario, personal relationships. A friend guilts you into attending an event you don't want. "You never make time for me anymore." The old you caves, cancelling your own plans and feeling trapped. The new you spots this as a manipulative bid for control, protects with, "My schedule's tight right now, but let's find a time that works for both of us." And masters by prioritizing your own goals, like working on a side project or self-care, showing you value yourself. The result? Either the relationship becomes more balanced, respecting your boundaries, or you gain clarity to distance yourself from toxic dynamics. Third scenario, social settings. At a party, someone dismisses your opinion with, "That's cute, but totally unrealistic." The old you laughs it off awkwardly, stung inside. The new you detects the disrespect, protects with, "I stand by my perspective. What's your take on it?" and masters by redirecting the conversation smoothly. Speaking of big ideas, what's something you're passionate about lately? This neutralizes their jab and positions you as the confident, engaging leader of the interaction. The transformation across these scenarios is undeniable. You've gone from feeling overlooked, reactive, and desperate to pleased to emerging as a composed, respected force who commands attention effortlessly. To make this stick, take action today. Choose one scenario from your own life, whether it's a pushy coworker, a demanding friend, or a dismissive family member. Grab a notebook or your phone, script out a selective no, neutral assertive response, or redirection phrase using the techniques we've covered, and rehearse it mentally or aloud 3 times. The next time you face a situation where you'd normally seek approval, deploy your script. You'll feel the immediate shift as respect flows your way, solidifying your newfound psychological power. With this potent knowledge in your hands, you hold significant power, power that could be misused to manipulate or dominate, but you're choosing to wield it ethically, as Machiavelli himself advised, to build alliances through strength and integrity, not fear or deceit. Modern psychology reinforces this. True strength lies in earning respect while uplifting those around you, fostering trust and authenticity rather than exploiting weaknesses. By mastering these strategies, you've joined an exclusive group, perhaps only 5% of the population, who see through the likability trap that ensnares most people, leaving them chasing fleeting approval while you command enduring respect. This exclusivity gives you a profound edge in every area of life, professional, personal, and social. But with that edge comes a responsibility to use it wisely. Anchor yourself in integrity, using these tools to set firm boundaries, call out disrespect when it threatens harmony, and build relationships grounded in mutual respect, not one-sided approval seeking. Your strength doesn't just protect you, it inspires others to rise above petty games, creating a ripple effect of empowerment in your world. Commit to this ethical stance, and you'll not only safeguard your own value, but also elevate those around you, redefining what it means to be truly powerful. As we wrap up, take a moment to reflect. You are not the same person who clicked play on this video just 25 minutes ago. You've transformed into a psychological force who commands respect without ever needing to beg for approval. The exhausting game of chasing likability, you've transcended it entirely, wielding the dark power of Machiavelli's principles ethically to reshape how the world sees you. To deepen your mastery and unlock even more psychological strategies, check out my next video on mastering covert influence in any interaction. The link is waiting for you in the description below. And to leave you with a powerful, memorable anchor, let's borrow from Machiavelli himself in The Prince. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. You've chosen the path of respect, blending strength with integrity. Stay unstoppable, stay respected, and keep shining as the commanding presence you've become.